It was the right decision. If we had devalued the renminbi, other countries would have suffered. Only by not devaluing the currency could we help other Asian countries better survive the financial crisis. The other economies were also export-oriented, so when they saw China sticking to its foreign exchange rate for the renminbi, they had more confidence.
China still has a very strong grip on the currency, and more recently there would be some who would argue that China has even more control over its currency because of the capital controls.
Recently, China issued some policies to get a better handle on the country's overseas investment. That doesn't mean China wants to control investment abroad. We should point out that China has a deep pool of foreign currency reserves with more than $3 trillion. In that sense, I'm not convinced when I hear that investment is fleeing China because of the tighter capital controls. These policies were imposed to encourage overseas investment that is healthier, risk-free, and steady. These measures are necessary and aim only to promote overseas investment and support more Chinese companies to invest abroad.
So when do you see Beijing allowing for a more flexible currency? And when would we see a Chinese yuan that was free-floating and completely market-oriented?
I think this reform will still take a while. I would also like to see this reform achieved. However, to ensure stability during the current economic conditions, it will likely take longer for the yuan to reach the status you described. The Chinese government wants to speed up the internationalization of the RMB. At the same time, we want to do this steadily and minimize risk.
Looking at China today, how vulnerable do you think China is to a financial crisis? What do you think the biggest risk is?
Personally, I think China has learned a lot from the financial crisis, and I'm not worried that China will face a major crisis in the future. Of course, we have economic risks, but they are within our control. For example, we are concerned about rising debt and following through with economic reforms in a stable way. We need to lower bank and corporate debt. However, overall, I'm confident we won't have a crisis.